This has not been talked about publicly, to my knowledge, according to the speaker, till tonight. So one of the primary...
Hey, everybody. Trying to get funky. Trying to get skillful with my production, and we'll see. We'll see what you guys think about it. Let us know. almostagreement@gmail.com. Speaking of, we are Almost in Agreement. almostagreement@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what we got going on there, and look out for it. It is official. I am going to attempt to pull off a mayor's Knox County mayor's Republican. Well, right now it's only Republicans that are doing it. Anyway, we're going to have a debate April 14th in my favorite Happy Holler. Still working out the exact details on when and what drinks will be served at the bar for the debate, stuff like that. But you'll hear more from me and other sources as we get closer to it. Go to your favorite podcast provider on all of those. Like us, share us, friend us, follow us, text us to your friends. Do what you can do to support the show. It's going to be a very, very big year in elections. State House is getting, the state legislature is getting busy right now, even though they're not at work yet. We're going to talk about that right off the bat. So, hey, buddy.
Hey.
What's new with you?
Not much.
What's exciting? Tell me something new. Tell me something cool.
Got nothing.
I mean, it's raining. That's cool. It hasn't rained in fucking months.
Has it been that long?
It's bad. Like, we're artists. It was one of the driest Decembers on record they were talking about.
What was it?
Anyway, so I said we would. Start with some crazy stuff going on, and I'm not exactly sure how to address it. So right off the bat, we have this crazy story out of Minnesota. This lady got murdered by some ICE agents. Accusations running wild about whether it's a murder or it's a justified kill by the ICE agents. The White House saying some crazy shit, and other people reacted. And so, like, I don't like it. Off the bat, I don't like anybody dying. I do have a very big problem. I have an extra big problem because I'm racist, I guess, that it was an American citizen who was shot. But either way, the lack of due process, the lack of any real tether on this law enforcement is a problem. And as much as we try to pretend like we're a local show and end up doing national shit all the time, I am going to touch on this national shit to bring it back local because our friend Justin Lafferty, who you heard right off the bat, this is via the Knox News Facebook channel, has this video up, and they did a story on it that there are let's just let him tell us what's going on.
My knowledge, according to the speaker, till tonight. So one of the primary objectives in the session that we're getting ready to start, and you're going to see this out of the gate, is the state of Tennessee has been working with the White House for about the last 6 weeks. Our speaker has been at the White House numerous times. He has been working with Stephen Miller, and they have asked Tennessee to go first. And we're going to be proposing a slate of legislation to go after illegal immigration. There is going to be a slate of of legislation, the language, we don't have the drafts yet. It is strong legislation. And the president's behind us. The president has promised his support on social media for us, and we are being told Tennessee will go first. This is coming from Stephen Miller, the White House, with us. We had leadership meeting about 4 or 5 weeks ago with the Senate and the House. Everybody is on board. You're probably going to see some announcements about that the first couple of weeks of session. Tennessee is going to lead the nation. In this state, right now, it costs $971 million a year for the illegal immigrants in this state. I promise you, when we start passing this legislation, Tennessee will be the model for other states to follow. All
right, so right off the bat, I'm glad he touched on the money part because there's a lot of different things that it could be. We don't know. He didn't tell you. He didn't say what the actual language, quote unquote, that he said that he read was. He didn't break that down to anybody as of yet. We will see what these bills actually are when they get there. Because one of the other things is that ICE is going to build an office here in Knoxville. They have already put their request for, I don't know, whatever it is, from the Federal Office of Management and something like that, who actually does all the procurement for the federal government and their agencies. Mm-hmm. And so the window for people to offer their property for sale to this ICE office has passed. There's been no re-announcement of it, so the assumption is that some property has been put up. I was too late to make my suggestion and try to see if Knox County would sell them the Richard Bean Detention Center. I thought that would be a perfect fit. There's offices in there, and they would have the detention center as a boot instead of having to put people in the adult one. We put the kids somewhere else. I'm not saying put the illegals in with the kids. That's not the pitch.
No, I was just trying to think. I don't know if we've ever talked about it or ever researched. I don't know the capacity of the
juvie 125.
Is it? So I'd say it's pretty small for an ice facility.
Well, the ice facility that they're building,
unless they're turning them over quick.
Well, they don't intend to. It's not intended to be a detention center. It's intended to be offices for agents in the region. Gotcha. In their request, they ask for the ability to do basically the way it kind of reads is they want to have like an interrogation, like a single holding cell on site, so that they can snatch you off the street and drag you into their office and interrogate you and go through your papers and make sure you are or are not something before they hand you off to the sheriff's office to put you in the detention center up by the golf course, or I guess release you back onto the streets. But other than that, it's just offices for the employees
gotcha.
and the officers that work in the region. So that part's happening. But to come back to the Lafferty part of things is one of the ones that's been kind of conjectured already is the state does have so I didn't realize this. There's two parts of the 287G program. Most counties in the state now are participating in one or the other. Most of them, Knox County included, are on the detention side. So there's a enforcement side and a detention side of the 287G program. And you can opt in. Different counties have opted in, and different police departments, whether it was a county sheriff's office or metro city police departments, where the 287G program that we are currently in is, dude gets pulled over for speeding or reckless driving or something like that, and upon the very surface level investigation, they have strong suspicion of status of questionable status, or maybe more to the point, they confirm that they have some status, or they have an ICE hold or something like that. And so for Knox County Sheriff's deputies, if that's the case, then they detain them and they take them to the detention center, and then they notify ICE, and ICE will come pick them up in a certain period of time, or Knox County will let them go. That's the agreement with 287G as it stands. So the other part would be 287G enforcement, which would be Knox County Sheriff's deputies are out on the streets actively looking for people who do not have their paperwork, who have questionable immigration status. So they're actively investigating and searching for, seeking them out. Okay, would up to and include having like ICE agents running around with them doing stuff, maybe going and hanging out in the Home Depot parking lots. I don't know what methods the sheriff would. I don't know what it depends on what methods the sheriff or police chief wants to enforce in their department. But that's the second part that we're not doing currently. And so the question I had on it, and the understanding is, Knox County Sheriff's Office, Knox County, Tennessee, gets $0 from the federal government to participate in 287G. So for every inmate that's taking up a space in costing a certain amount of money to house when we take them into the detention center, we are not getting reimbursed for that.
I thought we were, but it was at like a lower rate. I thought there was something months ago where the jail kind of did an audit and figured out we were losing money.
But so you follow that with if one of the so let me I kind of got bounced around there for a second. One of the things that is been talked about in circles that probably know more than we know is that one of these bills that they're discussing may be the state requiring sheriff's offices and police departments to participate in both sides of 287G. So state law now require and I mean from Lafferty talking there, it sounds like that's probably one of the things they're going to do.
Is it 10 different legislation possibly?
Do what?
You say it was like 10 different bills they were looking at.
And so to me, I don't think it's a leap to say that requiring all police departments and sheriff's office in the state to participate in 287G being state law at the end of this session, I think is probably likely. But again, I don't think they certainly don't get what it costs to do, let alone if they get anything. It's certainly not as much as it costs to do this stuff. And so my first question out the bat, we're in a mayoral race where the first number one thing to me is going to be budget and taxes. That's all I care about. That's all I want to hear these mayor candidates talk about when I do my debate here in a little bit. all I want to talk about is taxes and budgets. Where in Knox County's budget are we going to kick extra money into Knox County Sheriff's Office for them to be able to participate in this program? Or the more likely, realistic thing is we won't kick more money into the Sheriff's Department, and so are you and I, citizens living in this space, comfortable with the idea that our already understaffed Sheriff's Office has officers out chasing quote-unquote illegal residents instead of doing any of the myriad of other things that they can't quite keep up with at the current status of employment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my concern in this. Like we can argue about whether we should be hunting illegals or not. That is secondary to this part of the argument for me. This part of the argument for me is who's fucking paying for it, because it's going to cost money. And if we're not adding additional resources to the sheriff's office, what are we leaving out by focusing attention on this?
But I'm assuming it's coming out from the state, then the state's probably going to allocate money sent to departments.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, that might be part of some of the bills. Some of the bills might be you have to participate in 287G, and the state and your local has to pitch in a certain number of dollars per whatever, and they might do some state-enforced budget changes, which could very much affect the ability to like, again, it goes back to these budget things. It's like, well, if the state says you have to raise the sheriff's office budget by 10%, where's that going to come from? Knox County. We don't have that, so we have to raise our taxes. So Betsy might be in a pickle here if the state does this, and this is all going to be going on in real time while she's trying to campaigning, and she has already took the stance that she will not raise taxes, which people might want to hear, but man, she is in trouble if she wins promising not to raise taxes and the state drops that on her lap. I mean, that'll, like, if the state passes it, it'll be right before the primary. We'll know what's going to happen right before the primary. And if she wins that primary, she's winning the race. And so she's going to have to spend the whole summer trying to figure out how to backtrack off that plan.
Do we have a veto process? I mean, could the city council propose the tax, then she veto it, but then they can override it or whatever, so she can kind of keep her hands clean? County
Commission, it's a good question in process.
That's right, exactly, she's not city mayor, she's county mayor.
You know, like, that's a good question with the way the power structure works. It's kind of, both city and county are kind of the same way. We both have...
didn't know if she could use that as an out of...
We both have fairly weak mayor. Both municipalities are fairly weak mayors. They have a lot of authority in their office for the things that their office does, but especially the county, because there's so many elected offices on top of. Like City of Knoxville, the mayor's office oversees the police department.
Right.
The mayor's office oversees Parks and Rec. The mayor's office oversees. I don't even know if they. I guess no. The city mayor, the city taxes and stuff go through the trustee's office for Knox County, and so they don't oversee that part of things. But a lot of stuff in the city is under the mayor's purview, and so the mayor's agenda in the city is a little bit stronger, I think, than the mayor's agenda in county. Generally speaking, it is rare that county commission can force something onto a mayor in Knox County, as I understand it. Not that it's impossible to do, but it would be very hard to do. And with sitting county commissioners like Andy Fox and what's her name? She'll be out because she's running for that judge seat. It'll depend. Well, it'll also depend on some of these other commissioners coming in, because we got 5 new county commissioners in this racing right now, and so that's 5 of 11. So just short of half will be new. So those 5 will be campaigning on some of these things too. So if any of those 5 ran on, we're not going to raise taxes in Knox County, I will not be voting for raising taxes in Knox County. They're going to be in a pickle. They could be in a pickle. I don't know. I'm jumping to a lot of functionally different conclusions here. But again, if what I believe to be the most likely medium-term outcome for everything that's going on right now, Betsy Henderson will win the Republican primary. Therefore, she will win the mayor's office. It doesn't feel like a stretch to me that the state will hand down this everybody participates in 287G plus some other stuff. Whether they demand there's more input from the locality into the sheriff's office for that reason, maybe, maybe not. But either way, the sheriff's office is going to be asking for more money. It needs to be asking for money. They need to be asking for raises for officers so they can get more officers so they can at least get fully staffed for once. They haven't been fully staffed in like a decade.
Yeah.
So it seems very likely to me that there is going to be that all the stuff the state's going to do on the immigration side is going to have a significant impact on the ability to do budgets locally. You know, I don't know. Maybe here's a better example. We have no budget. We have no money. So we have a big old pothole out on some country road. Can we get a sheriff's deputy to come hang out and make sure nobody runs through that pothole? Or are they busy chasing Juan through the woods, making sure he gets detained and he's kicked out of the country? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm selfish and lazy, but I would rather not do a grand or two of damage to my vehicle because there's a pothole that the county can't take care of and we have no officers to come out and make sure nobody runs through it because that officer is instead chasing.
I mean, they can probably just put up a sign and say, you were warned. Uneven road ahead.
But
rough road.
Right. But who's got to put the sign out there and get out there? Is it like, are we going to be able to keep the roads department fully staffed? I mean, there's a million parts and pieces and every single one of them costs money.
Right.
But again,
the sign's probably cheaper than actually filling it in or whatever, sending a whole crew out there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
I don't know if that makes them not liable for any damage.
It's a hard line to get them to be liable for damages from a bad roadway anyway. You know, and so maybe that's it. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I need to get. I joked I got some brake work done and I was hanging out there killing the 5 hours it takes them to change brakes or whatever. And I joked with another guy in the waiting room and the guy working the reception desk because like we just kind of got on the topic of how fast Knoxville's growing and how many people are moving here. And one guy mentioned that apparently there's like 2 or 3 different like real estate magazines that are predicting Knoxville will be the number 1 destination for people to move to in 2026.
I saw some recent article that we were like top 10 for places to move to.
And I was like, we should be. I should invest in like a body shop. Like I should go open a body shop. All these people coming down here, we're gonna have lots of little fender benders and wrecks with all this new traffic on the roads. There's gonna be plenty of work for body shops. And or we could continue the joke about potholes and stuff, get into shocks and brakes or just wheels. Just replace, wheels and rims. All these busted rims going through all these potholes that we're going to start seeing. So suffice to say, it's going to be you take the incident in Minnesota and you roll down some of the things that concerns for here. On the local side of it, that was a crazy story, but the Trump administration, state of Tennessee, the ICE agency, they're investing significant sums of money to put more manpower here locally in Knoxville. Now, I presume it's going to be more regional. Like it's not going to be just for Knoxville, Knox County. It's going to be for
just a hub for East Tennessee,
the surrounding areas and stuff. But either way, we're going to have some of these. It seems likely to me that we're going to have some dudes running around in their full kit with their masks on, yanking brown skinned people around, making sure they get their papers. And I don't know that I feel like that's a good look.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the ones like Jesse was talking about earlier on the Compass podcast. It's like, like go back and think about any time have you ever heard the phrase from like an authority figure, show me your papers. It's always the fucking bad guy.
Right.
It's never the heroes and the people that the heroes are helping. It's always the bad guys. Well, that's not true. Indiana Jones did it a couple times. They made that joke in 2 of the movies when they were in the Zeppelin. You remember that scene?
No.
It was Last Crusade. It's the one with where his dad's in it. Sean Connery's his dad, and they get on the Zeppelin because they're trying to get out of Berlin, I think. And some Nazi comes over to him, and Harrison Ford punches him in the face, throws him out the fucking window, and looks around the cabin because everybody's like, "Oh," he's like, "No ticket." He does it again he does it in one of the earlier movies too, where he throws somebody off a train, and everybody looks at him and he goes, "No ticket." They made that joke twice.
Didn't have a ticket.
No papers. Oh, that's a funny. Hitler's cameo in Last Crusade is probably one of my favorite little, like just very throwaway moments in the movie, but very perfectly hilarious.
It's been so long since
You need
I've
to
seen
watch
him.
that again. So they're in Berlin, and they're at a book. He ends up at a book burning, and the whole movie's about his dad's diary that has all the clues for the search for the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fighting with the hot Nazi chick to get his book back from her, and he gets the book back from her, and she runs off into the crowd or whatever, and he's like holding the book in his hand, and at that exact moment Hitler comes by for this rally, grabs the book out of his hand, signs it, hands it back to him. So it's his dad's diary with all his notes on the search for the Holy Grail, and Hitler signed it and handed it back to him. It's just like a 10-second little throwaway moment in the movie, and it always stood out as me. It's one of those funniest little like random, because he's sitting there completely. It's Harrison Ford with his perfectly befuddled look on his face. What was that Bare Naked Lady song? Harrison Ford getting frantic. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway,
Never get into it.
I'm referencing on references here. They're Canadian. Nobody likes Canadians anyway.
Yeah.
That's why Nickelback sucks.
But not Rush.
It's true. R.I.P. Neil Peart.
Yeah.
And Geddy Lee and his weird bat face. He's just a funny looking dude, which makes total sense with the music and everything that they do, but he's just a kind of funny looking dude. He looks like a dork. Like, he looks like an episode of Stranger Things that they spend the whole episodes playing D&D.
Yeah.
Like that, he would sit down at the table with these kids playing D&D. Nobody bat an eye.
Alex Lightson looks pretty normal. Geddy Lee looks like an interesting.
That's always the thing. Because I think Neil Peart and his stupid hat always bothered me. That stupid hat he liked to wear always bothers me. And videos where he's got that weird little knit cap. Yeah, the guitar player guy just never seemed like, he never fit visually with the rest of the band to me. Like, he always just seemed like a normal dude. Like him with what's his name from Pink Floyd hanging out together
David Gilmour.
Him and David Gilmour next to each other might give you a little bit of like, are you guys brothers? Are you guys related? You look a lot alike. You look like a couple of aging rock stars, but they look similar to me.
Old school Roger Waters look kind of odd.
Roger Waters, like he did look like
some very like defined like facial features, like a big jaw.
Gaunt. Is the descriptor I would use for him. Gaunt, a little sunken in.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, down our random musical what musicians look like rabbit hole for a second there. My favorite other story of the week is the Knox County Symphony Orchestra is getting sued. Did you see that story?
No.
So there is a clarinetist, some guy from whatever, I don't know his name. The news story has his name in it. I forgot it already. He came and tried out for the Knox County Symphony Orchestra for one of the clarinet seats, and apparently KSO does what they call a blind audition as their starting process.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, at their practice facility, they set up a screen. Some of the assistants, probably days prior, hands you some music. You learn your music, and you go sit down behind the screen and play it for the judges.
All right, I've heard that's the standard. Heard an interesting story about that. Yeah, the
judges do a scorecard, and those scorecards go to whomever the next step in the process. And so somebody in the judging panel basically mentioned to this guy that you scored the highest in the blind part of the audition, to which this individual assumed that meant he was going to get the job. Well, the next level is, I guess, in the way KSO does their hiring process, is when they start checking references and shit. This dude used to perform with the Nashville Symphony Orchestra, who had let him go for being a douchebag, essentially. He harassed other people in the orchestra, was a problem. And they decided that he wasn't really a good fit for to go pun-fantastic. He did not contribute to the harmony that was that orchestra. So they let him go. And so it's been a couple of years since they let him go, and he came and did this tryout and thought he was getting the job, and so they didn't hire him. They apparently hired a lady or a person of color instead, and so he is suing them, saying that he didn't get the job based on race and political something or other. So again, essentially this guy's just he's a racist douchebag, and assumes that since he was the better player that he should get the job, regardless of his racist douchebaggery.
Yeah.
To which I added to the Compass podcast on the conversations, like, we've had people, it's been rare for us, but there was a couple of people that, they seem really smart. They seem really like trustworthy. All the top little check marks for me of somebody that I want in my stores, that I feel safe with my money, that they already know the products pretty well, and they can get around understanding what we do. But then sitting down for a second with them and talking to them, and then talking to the other managers that had talked to them before, and kind of really doing a little bit more conversation about them, it's like, that person's just not going to fit in here culturally. Like, they're just not going to get along with the way we do stuff and how we're chill and that kind of stuff. They're a little too whatever. And so it's like, man, that sucks. I really thought they would be a good employee, because I think they would do some of the stuff that we really want to get done.
Right.
But if that is at the cost of, some of the chill and some of the cool parts about everybody, like, if we hire this person, are we going to lose 3 other people tomorrow because they don't want to work with this person?
Right.
There can be times where one employer might do that intentionally, because you want to get rid of some people. You need a cultural shift in your company. But if you like the culture and you want to keep it that way, you don't hire somebody that's going to wreck your culture. I think that's reasonable and normal, and that's more or less what KSO did. And so the lawsuit goes.
Yeah, I would think the KSO has a decent argument.
I mean,
the ball's in this guy that didn't get hired. It's in his court to try to prove that
right.
was the reason they didn't
Right.
bring him in.
He has to prove it's because of his white maleness and not because of his known history from an industry counterpart
Right.
that is likely to be a checked reference. I mean, I think, especially in that game, like, how many professional clarinetists do you think are in the fucking country?
Right.
Like, if there's a million professional instrumentalists, non-pop, I suppose. I guess I didn't think about that when I was talking about it earlier. If you get into like the pop rock category, I'm sure there's like there's probably a couple million in the country sphere that are performing musicians or studio musicians.
Right. But symphonic.
But in the symphonic space, if there's a million total of all instruments combined, I think that would be a high estimate of paid professionals.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you think like Knoxville is probably one of the smallest municipalities to have a paid orchestra. I think you get any smaller than Knoxville, it's like a volunteer community orchestra.
Right.
It's not even a paid gig for anybody. You might get some sandwiches before the concert, and that's the most you're getting paid in a year from one of those. And so, like I would think in the city or in the state of Tennessee, what do you think? There's 4, 5 municipal orchestras? Nashville, obviously. Memphis probably has one. Chattanooga probably's got something. Knoxville's got something.
Yeah. Johnson City's probably the
Right,
kind of more community
Tri-Cities,
one, like you were
Bristol's,
thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Bristol's Tri-City might be right there on the very edge of possibly having one. Unless there's some weird specificity, like Murfreesboro probably doesn't have one.
Right.
And so, anyway, the moral of the story is, so 5 with 50 members, 60 members in the state of Tennessee. So 250, 300 people in Tennessee. Just lazy math, multiply that by 50. So let's add a 0, 3,000 times 5 would be 15,000. Obviously, there are some places that have more. New York City's probably got more than one.
Right.
But,
And they're probably at least 10 to 15% international.
Right. I know that's just it. The other thing to me that's kind of that I would think is a red flag was probably a red flag for the KSO hiring team was I would think in the hierarchy of things, you go from Knoxville to Nashville, not Nashville to Knoxville.
Right.
Like Nashville is a bigger city. It's probably a bigger, better funded orchestra, probably pays a little better, does probably more shows a year, probably has a little bit more, it's just more in that kind of realm. I mean, if nothing else, if you're a working National Symphony Orchestra member who does lessons as a side gig, which they all do, you have way bigger potential client base in Nashville than you do here.
Sure.
Although you probably have plenty here that you can get enough to get full time or enough of that lessons work that you're going to make a decent amount of money. It's like 45 grand I think from KSO. Add another 15, 20 in private lessons and stuff like that. You're doing okay. You're not doing great, but you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. You're not starving, but you're certainly not buying Rolls Royces or anything like that. Where I think in Nashville, you're probably doing way better than that. Although Nashville's a little more expensive, so. But it's, again, my point is, I think if you're KSO, you're seeing somebody leaving Nashville and coming to Knoxville and going, that's different. I wonder why they did that. And maybe that turns into a phone call.
It could be as simple as they were consistently in like fourth and fifth chair. They're like, maybe I'll go to Knoxville. I can be first or second chair.
But either way, I think it's
more solos.
Whether they know, I guess my point in bringing all that up is like if it's in court and they're like, do you normally reach out to other orchestras and stuff that people played at? And the answer might be no.
I would think they would.
I'm just saying, but even if the answer is no, then the line of questioning becomes, well, why on this one? Well, we found it a little bit concerning that this person came from a bigger orchestra, and this is a step down in orchestras.
Right.
And so that kind of got our ears perked, and so we did go ahead and check that reference. And in checking that reference, we found out that that apparently like multiple members of the National Symphony Orchestra had restraining orders against this guy.
No shit.
Like documentable harassment stuff, not just like.
You think some of that would that show up on a criminal record check?
Yeah. Again, I don't know if KSO does those either. It's the same question. It's the same thing.
Right.
You know, the line of question is, do you normally do background checks on people? Well, no, but why'd you do it on this one? Well, we thought something was a little strange about the situation, so we checked into it, and then we verified the information that we got from when we checked into it by running this background check. That seems like a logical line of thinking from a hiring manager perspective. Even if you don't normally do it, man, we really like this guy, but there's something that's giving us a little hinky feeling. We're going to take a little extra time to look at this.
Right.
And he's white. Fuck him. Which, you know me, I would be perfectly okay if we had a whites-only orchestra. I wouldn't be okay with tax dollars paying for it. But if somebody wanted to build a whites-only orchestra, have at it, people. I don't give a shit. Now, if all you do is play racist-ass songs, I'm certainly not going to pay any money to go see you.
Nothing but Dixie.
Maybe there might be a couple of good ones out there. I don't know. I don't have a good. I don't have very good depth in the racist-ass classical music.
Yeah.
I'm sure Handel and a bunch of that stuff's racist as shit.
There's an interesting story kind of on that lines of, and I think it was the Vienna Philharmonic. It was this like world renowned. I think she was a trombonist, where they talked about them doing like the blind auditions or whatever. She was like the best person. They got chosen, and then they kept demoting her down to like second chair. And there was some old school belief, or like the conductor tried to think that because she was a woman, she wouldn't have the breath to play as well as a male. So they sent her to like all these doctors to do like this like breath tests and stuff, which she, of course, aced or whatever. Right. She was in great health.
Well, stupid is, I guess.
Right.
That's bad. I mean, that's rough. That's rough. I don't know what the Austrian equal rights protections are. So who knows what the legals are in that space.
Yeah, I think she tried to sue.
I mean, I was afraid you were going to go down some line as like the director is old school. Is like he was like, she plays fantastic, but what happens if her menses lines up with the performance and it ruins everything?
No,
I'm just saying if you're going to be ridiculous about it, like
no, he was just super sexist. That it was just kind of this belief that a woman wouldn't be able to play the trombone as well because it takes a lot of breath. Whatever.
What a dumbass thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah,
that was when I first heard about them doing blind auditions.
Yeah, I mean, it does open like I mean, I mean again, it's like nobody really looks at the orchestra anyway. You're all in penguin suits. It's not a visual show anyway,
right?
So
because I think up until that point, they also like didn't have as many like foreigners as well,
right? I mean, like again, like I respect
great. He was like, oh, he's Asian, like, ugh. We didn't know that
fantastically.
Like, well, why does that matter? You want the best sounding person.
All I want to do is hear the best version, the best performance of the best version of the best songs that have ever been written in the history of time.
Right.
I don't like nobody's looking at anything. Like, there's nothing to look at.
Right. Unless you got great seats.
Right. But even that, it's like I don't know. You don't like. I go to my kids' band concerts. I'm looking at my kid.
Right.
If I can. If not, I'm just kind of like mindlessly looking around, like I'm not thinking, like I'm listening. I'm not.
Well, it's like the auxiliary a little bit more, just because you see them standing up and moving around.
Yeah, playing
the timpani or the triangle, holding it up in the air.
Well, and then for me, like I'm looking at percussion because I have depth in percussion, and
right.
I can't help but think about how bad these kids in middle school are. But it's okay. They're in middle school. They're
still learning.
They're learning their way through. My youngest is into it, and that's cool. And he's messing around with percussion now, and I'm trying to figure out how much help is help and how much help is making him disinterested. So right now, I just gave him a couple of mallets and some sticks, and that's all he wants from me.
Just give him a practice pad.
I'll give a little 5-minute lesson every while. I was like, no, he's got pillows.
Okay.
He needs the
muscle. It's not going to give you the same bounce, though.
Exactly. I don't want him to get the bounce. He needs to get the arm muscle to do the work.
Touche.
Because then when he comes in with the pad and he starts getting the bounce and the rebound and stuff like that, he won't be great at articulating the rebound, but he will have the arm muscle to then start fine tuning the articulation. So it's build the big muscle first and worry about the little muscles later.
Okay.
That's how I always feel like it should be. So, anywho, that was that story. I'm trying to think what else I saw. So I back up a second. There is conversation on the local in County Commission. Andy Fox is proposing that the sheriff's office goes ahead with the enforcement part of 287G, whether it's a state mandate or not. So we might get both sides of it here in Knox County, regardless of what the state does. But then we also have all the different stuff that the state might be doing. So we got 10 bills to look at, see what they're going to do. I don't know how much budget the state has to add its own funding to it.
I keep talking about our massive rainy day fund.
Oh, maybe this is what they're going to spend it on.
Yeah.
And again, like I can. This gets into the weird one of it's like we are a nation. We are like in the famous words of Bill Clinton. We are a nation of laws, and one of those laws is that there are acceptable ways to enter this country and assimilate into the population with us. You don't just get to walk in whenever you feel like it. I paraphrased the second half there.
Yeah.
The only quote was we are a nation of laws. And I think Obama did a similar one too. And so they're like, that's where this shit gets funky. Like, there is a policy, there's a moral dilemma in there, but there's also a legal policy dilemma in play here. Like, we can't function as a nation if just anybody who wants to, for any reason, can walk in here and just become part of this thing. It just doesn't work that way. It couldn't work that way long term. And so there is logically, at least, am I crazy? Am I wrong? Like, I feel like there is a maximum.
I think anyone should be eligible to petition and go through the process of becoming a citizen.
Do you think we should allow unlimited numbers?
Not necessarily.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you, and I think I think it's kind of weird that depending on the country, I think annually they have numbers by country. Like 100 people can come from Venezuela, 100 people can come from France, 100 people can come but different numbers. Like we'll take 1,000 people from Taiwan are allowed to immigrate to the United States this year. 700 people from Angola, whatever. I believe the way immigration does it for actual immigration, not work visa, not
asylum or whatever.
Not work visa, not asylum, and not tourist stuff, but just for truly, I'm leaving my country, I want to come to your country. There is a set number by country that is put forth by probably the White House or some subset underneath the White House. Or
State Department or something.
Yeah. And then you have the asylum claim stuff, and then you have work visas, and you have like the really gross, what's the H-1Bs, the really gross H-1B visas? That's fun. That's
now you can get your gold card.
I mean, like, there's part of it that, I kind of like. I like the idea somewhat. Like, there is a selfish, like, yeah, hell yeah, you got like this best astrophysicist on the planet, and he's from, I don't know, Mongolia, and he wants to come over here. Bring him on over. Let's give him special. We can make a special excuse for having one of the smartest people on the planet come over here and contribute to our nation and economy. That sounds awesome. It doesn't seem like that's how most of them work. Most of them tend to be like IT people that are pretty smart, that of jobs, of capabilities that Americans could do, but cost more to do. And so big tech companies like to go hire people with H1 and get them H1B visas to come over and do the work for cheaper. But then the company controls the visa, not the employee, which that's gross. Like, That's kind of that's
It
at
opens
minimum
up the
like
door
that's
to
some
the abuse that has been done with it.
I mean, it's
like, oh, you don't want to work overtime? Like, huh? Well,
right.
We'll see if you still have your job.
You don't like working here? You think we treat you like shit? You think that company across the street might treat you better? You can go try to work there, but as soon as you walk out that door, we're going to invalidate your visa and you get to go home, not go work across the street. Yeah, that seems a little bit more akin to like an indentured servitude situation,
right?
Than like, I don't know, the best and brightest in the world coming here to benefit us. Maybe that's just me, especially in the tech stuff like that. Like, Americans should be capable of doing those jobs. Like, the anomalous one makes sense to me. The sports one's another one that's kind of an interesting one too. You've talked about it before. There get some complications like I don't know where like Sid's Canadian. I don't know what his status is now. He's been around for long enough and been a Pittsburgh resident probably for most of his career now, I guess technically. But I don't know what his immigration status is.
He's probably still Canadian. I wouldn't think that he would have dual citizenship.
And so there is stuff where that gets to be a very complicated thing when you have athletes, especially in sports like baseball and hockey that have a league that runs out of both countries.
Right.
And so, but anyway, but either way, so like any of these Canadian-born, Canadian citizen hockey players that come play for U.S. teams. That's another subset of the visa program where they have visas to be here.
Right.
They're not legal citizens of the United States. They live and work here. It's a work visa of sorts, but it's like a special status work visa for sports and entertainment. Same thing with like Celine Dion coming to the United States for a concert series because she's Canadian, or as we joked earlier, Nickelback or Bare Naked Ladies. Like, for them to do a U.S. tour, they're getting special work visas to come to the United States to do that tour.
Right.
Which totally makes sense to me. Like it's something you never think about, but it makes sense. But again, going back to the main question, it's like, we have to put a maximum. Like, there's a certain number where you just got to be like, hey, do you think it's fair that we give preferential treatment for certain countries? Like, do you think it's fair that we say 0 from Cuba, but 100 from Mexico?
Is it fair?
I mean, does that seem like reasonable, moral, ethical, like whatever? Like, we started this because you...
And I know like Canada and Australia and like New Zealand have like much stricter immigration laws. Like even Canada, you kind of have to have like, it's not necessarily like an economic like threshold, but
yeah,
you have to have like some kind of skill that you can benefit the country.
Right. Are you gonna add to or subtract from us? If you're going to subtract from us, we don't want you in here.
Right.
That's how a number of nations do it. And so, but anyway, we started it with anybody should be able to. I think the phrase something along the lines. You said something along the lines of like anybody who can do the paper should do the paperwork who wants to come here should be able to come here. My first question was, should we have a maximum? Which you said yes. And then the next follow up question on that is like, well, how do we equitably divide those? For what rationale? Because if it's just a matter of filling out the paperwork, there'd be millions and millions and millions. And so if we acknowledge that there's a threshold, is it the first 100,000 and then we stop? Or does it, I mean, it does seem a little bit immoral to me that we take A and not B. So, anyway, I don't know. The point being is that it's a complicated conversation.
Yeah.
It very much is a complicated conversation. And I can understand and empathize, I suppose, with the feeling of, like, I think it's been sold to us inaccurately through politics of what the effect of this is. I think there is a net negative effect. I agree with that on some level, that there is a net negative effect of unfettered immigration law, and that through the Biden administration, we did have a significant uptick in how many people came here with, especially with asylum visas, and that there was a negative impact of doing that and stuff like that. How do we correct that? A, we correct that by not letting as many people in, but B, what do we do with all the people that are here? Just because you make it here, do you get to stay here? Whether you did the right paperwork or not? These are the questions, and they're hard questions, because when you see it...
I think there should be a path to it, yeah.
I don't know about that. That's just like you
I can see kind of like prioritizing like certain professions that are more in need. I mean, like we've had a declining amount of people leaving healthcare and just a greater demand for people working in healthcare.
I mean, again, like I
can
could
see,
get on
like,
board with the
prioritizing
premise,
that.
right? If that was the premise, if that it's 100%, anybody who wants to come here and be a net positive to this system, come on, and that is the core of the immigration policy. And if you have no positive value to us, just stay where you are. If that's the basis of our immigration policy, that seems like a reasonable way to do it.
Right.
To be fair, it's kind of sucky for the people that don't have any real value to add, or at least provable value. And that's one of the hard parts about that one. It's like, well,
it's kind of hard to foresee potential,
right?
Because I've seen some people point out that immigrants are more likely to start a business.
Yeah,
which then leads to them hiring more people,
sure,
growing economy, etc.
Sure, but again, we're just kind of spitballing around with like ideas here, but this is a big, complicated conversation, and it's been talked about a lot. I will take the other side of kind of where I'm leaning to right now, accidentally or whatever, for anybody out there cheering for ICE because of what I just said. It's like, no, dragging people out of their cars, beating them up in the streets, stealing people from their homes, shooting them in their cars because they don't like the idea of what you're doing. That's not the appropriate way to go about this. We've had multiple instances of U.S. citizens, legal status to be here, getting picked up, thrown in jail, and sent out of the country because we didn't bother doing our jobs in law enforcement. That is not okay. That is, to coin a Hillary Clinton phrase, since apparently I'm quoting the Clintons tonight, that is deplorable. And if you were cheering that on, you are a deplorable person. And maybe Hillary Clinton was right about you. Because that is not okay. Just because he's Puerto Rican, not Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican's a terrible example. Just because he's Haitian.
They're Americans.
Just because he's Haitian, but if he did what he's supposed to do and he's got his paperwork and he's here legally, you're not allowed to cheer him getting kicked out. That's not how it works. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Because the other one to me in this whole thing is everybody cheering this shit on right now, whether it's Venezuela or Portland, or Venezuela. That's a different topic, sorry. Whether it's Minneapolis right now or Portland or all the different stories we've heard of all these different ICE issues that we have. What happened? Who is the next president going to be? And come this summer or come this coming fall, when the Republicans lose the House and Senate, because they will, and we then have full-on lame duck Donald Trump left, it's going to get real dicey for a couple of years, and then we're going to have some Democrat win the White House.
Now, I want to say Trump even came out this last week or in this previous week, and was basically like we got to make sure we don't lose the midterms. He's like, because they're going to impeach me again. They
absolutely will, and at this point, they absolutely should. Like, I disagree 1,000%.
I don't know what point they would go after him for, though.
1,000. There's 1,000.
But a lot of them are kind of like in the gray area.
Whatever. He's not. Well, will he get impeached and convicted? I don't know. The Senate's a little bit of a different animal on the conviction side of it. But what has happened in the second administration? Is it worse than the perfect phone call? Yes. Is it worse than January 6th? Yes, because I don't like the January 6th impeachment. I thought was bullshit. I think both of his first two impeachments were kind of wishy-washy at best. The Jan 6th one had a little bit of meat to it, but it's still a little. There was enough gray area to me in political speech, and the line between political speech and inciting violence seemed a little bit unclear on that one. I could see that one having a little bit more teeth to it, but the perfect phone call, the quid pro quo, whatever that one, that was bullshit. That was bullshit from the get-go. And so, which is part of the problem, because he's going to get impeached again come this midterm, and the Democrats take the House and Senate. He might get impeached, convicted. Part of me hopes so at this point, but certainly having impeached him for the perfect phone call is going to devalue the impeachment this time.
Right.
Because at this point, there were at least articles. I guess Biden never got officially impeached, but they did have articles, and they were playing with it for a while.
Yeah, they kept talking about it, but never went forward with it.
And, which again, that was my take on the perfect phone call thing. It's like, this is going to turn into every president is now going to get impeached as soon as the House is majority the other party. There's going to be an impeachment process, guaranteed. And the Republicans never had a strong enough. I think that's really what it was. The Republicans had never had enough of a majority in the House.
I think they just like to talk about it.
Do what?
I said I think they just like talking about it. Because I want to say it was like a House Judiciary Committee. That there was a guy like Jared Moskowitz out of Florida, who I think he even kept trying to introduce it. He's like, yes, keep talking about it. He's like, I'll put this bill forward. He's like, come on, you guys want to vote on it?
Yeah.
He's like,
well,
you keep talking about doing it this whole time. Like,
yeah. But I mean, to go
if
back
you're
to
going to do it, let's do it.
To go back a second to the point, it's like, if you're cheering this on, if you're cheering this lady getting killed in Minnesota on right now, and like she deserved this shit, these fucking loony leftist protesters, whatever, blah, 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 this is what you get kind of stuff. If that's your mindset right now,
I think some people are still kind of just
somewhere between 2 and 3 years, you're going to be on the other side. The shoe's going to be on the other foot here. And you're going to be the one who is going to be getting dragged. You're going to be the one going out there and protesting because you believe it's your right as an American citizen. And this new other party-controlled apparatus is going to be the one shooting you in the fucking street. And when your family complains about it, it's going to be hard for me to be like, hey, you were good with it when it was the other way. You got to be good with it now.
I think some people are still just kind of like fed into the idea that any kind of illegal immigrant is most likely a criminal. So they still kind of believe that ICE is out there getting criminals off the street. Because they believe the thought that like...
And I will assist your point in saying that legally speaking, by law, the way this works is it is not a criminal act to enter the country illegally. So just by being here without your proper paperwork, that does not definitionally make you a criminal. However, it doesn't change the point I was trying to make earlier. Immigration is an important piece of the system. Our society is the functional structure of our society based on a controlled immigration policy. We cannot have a free reign immigration policy. You agreed with me when we were talking about it earlier. We can't let an unlimited number of people in. How we're going about it is a very complex thing, and blah, 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 blah. We went all over that. But to be here illegally, whether you're currently acting in criminal manner or not, doesn't change the fact that if we acknowledge that we need to have a system in place, any breaking of the function of that system should be punishable, not by death, by the
due process,
by the due process and logical end game here of returning you to from whence you came,
right,
and saying, we're sorry.
Actually, no.
You can do an application. You can try to come back. That's fine. But you need to go through the right. You need to go through the right steps to get here. We can't just have unfettered access to this country.
I heard percentage but most of them are people who just overstayed their visas.
Which
They're probably just of the mindset of like, I most likely won't get caught. I've stayed a couple of years past my whatever visa they were on, their work visa, etc.
Which again, I'm not trying to be the ethno-nationalist here that says I don't want people in the country, but you came here on a work visa, then either re-up your visa or go home.
Right.
It's not that I'm trying to be mean or heartless about it, but it's like we have to have a system. We have to have some system. We can't. There's no logical way we can have a zero barrier immigration system.
Right.
It's just not logical that can work. And if we're going to have some system in place, people who violate the terms of the system need to be tended to.
Right.
And I hate the way I just said that because tended to sounds like some mafia bullshit where we should kill them in the street. No, they should be they should be talked to and said, hey, it's time to go home, and if you don't want to go on your own, we'll do it for you.
Why?
Because that costs us money too, but it's like
Why?
there's got to be some system in place.
Right.
Because again, if you have a system and people are violating that system,
If you don't have an intent.
there's third and fourth order consequence to this.
Hey,
We get into the U.S. agricultural system.
without an intent.
Hey, volume check, friend. I love you. We have a U.S. agricultural system that doesn't work without, at minimum, seasonal visa labor. But realistically, I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of that is not legal labor. Right?
Some of it, yeah.
I mean,
We have some manually intensive crops that
right.
we've
And
relied
those crops
upon.
cannot be economically viable if they are picked up by the hands of people who are getting paid at least minimum wage, or people are willing to take minimum wage to do it, which a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
And so, that is a second order consequence of having a loose immigration policy.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes okay. Well, we have an unrealistic. You and I have an unrealistic understanding of what it should cost to get a bag of strawberries. That's a pretty labor intensive one, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So a pint of strawberries for like good, especially in season summertime, you get like 2 pints for $5.
I don't know. It's been a while since I bought
I know.
strawberries.
When I used to do more of the shopping around the house, that was like when I saw them 2 for $5, I was always get two pints.
Yeah.
That might not be true anymore. It might be a pint for $5 now. It's a good
2 for
deal.
10.
But yeah, you're right. 2 for 10 is a killer deal. And so so is that realistically what it should cost to get a pint of strawberries to the grocery store and in my hands?
Right.
Obviously not, because if it takes us paying 50 people $7 a day working 12 hours a day or some crazy shit like that to get those to be, that's not what it costs. Now, that would be a problem. It'd be a huge problem for me and my family. We love our strawberries, but not being able to have strawberries because they're too expensive would be an issue. But then that becomes a different policy thing to talk about and figure it out. Like if the policy to keep the cost of strawberries low is to let a bunch of people in the country illegal, okay, then that's the policy. But that seems like again, going into the second, third order consequence thing, it's like this is going to cause other issues. If we're letting a bunch of people come in to come pick strawberries, the cartels are going to catch wind of that, and they're going to see what they can do about getting on board with doing what their main hustle is by using the permissions of this U.S. agricultural issue to do it. I would think that would be one of the consequences that happens when we have a more loose border policy. Is it's easier for those who want to bring fentanyl or cocaine or marijuana into this country. I don't know who's shipping. Like, do we really think there's still a bunch of Mexican weed coming to this country at this point?
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't. I mean, it feels a little bit crazy to me that would be the case, but maybe it is.
And I think Texas might have medicinal.
It's all
they're not a legal state.
I know it's all the heroin. I mean, it's all the the fentanyl all comes through Mexico.
I didn't mean to destroy the walls.
I mean, the parts and pieces come from China, and then
precursors
it's
from
assembled.
India.
Right, it's assembled in Mexico and then shipped across the border. Plus, we have this stupid NAFTA deal and all this other crap that we're still dealing with from the 90s that has all sorts of third and fourth order consequences. A lot of that being like 20% of our economy to 25% of our economic stuff comes through Mexico. It's a big number of our economy.
Yeah, there's a good bit of products that go back and forth.
Yeah.
With both Mexico and Canada, we have factories on like either side.
Right. Some of this crazy shit where like we'll build parts here, send them to Mexico, and assemble portions, and then they come back here and get assembled in Texas, and then get sold. And now you have an American car.
Yeah.
It's like, well, sorta. I'm not sure. Like, and just on the topic, and this is a throwaway, you don't have to continue down the rabbit hole. The most upsetting to me is USDA is probably one of the worst agencies on the planet to be, because of this one specific particular fact. If you take a cow that was born, raised, fed, slaughtered, quartered in Argentina, ship that quarter cow to the United States, and then I slice that up into steaks, I can sell you USDA American beef. Certified by the USDA, this is American beef.
I thought they changed some of the
At least that used
labeling
to be the
of it.
case. You're right. That might have been updated, but
No, the best.
that is fucking nuts.
The best nickname for me
Because
ever.
what you and I see when we say this is American beef, I'm thinking this cow has lived its entire life in America.
They've been able to do kind of the same thing with like other products, and you get to like the assembled, where like you said, most of whatever product was made in one country, and we get here and like we throw a case on it, and we're like,
Yeah.
assembled in America.
Yeah, I mean again, but assembled is at least a clearer verb.
That's a vague kind of
But-
half truth.
But the USDA one is a noun. This is U.S. beef.
Yeah,
You know, this isn't U.S. steel. You know, like the equivalent in like something in a hard good would be like
Just name it the hub.
something made out of metal,
Bro, I can't.
and all the parts and pieces of that come to the United States,
Maybe.
cut and printed and all that stuff, and it's assembled pieces of metal, and you get to call it U.S. steel. It's not U.S. steel. That's Chinese steel that got cut, and they got smelted and cut and forged and all that stuff over there. And then some guy over here put it together.
Yeah, we just flatten it out, turn it into something else.
Right. You know, anyway, yeah, maybe that'd be an easier one. You get like a big roll of Chinese steel gets put on a ship, shipped over here into Pittsburgh, even where it gets run through a machine and gets stamped and made into a finished part, and we say that's U.S. steel. No, it's not U.S. steel.
Right.
That's Chinese steel. It got I guess manufactured or processed, or it got cut and forged here, but that is not U.S. steel. Anyway, I didn't mean. I tried to preface that with we don't need to go down this rabbit hole, other than to say that immigration policy is complicated, and I can get behind the argument that if you've overstayed your visa, if you're here without proper paperwork, you need to go home. I can't get behind the idea of sending a bunch of idiots in uniforms-ish with masks on running down the street just grabbing people, throwing them in a car, and maybe you're not maybe figuring out or not if they're local.
Right.
And then dealing with it later. Like that's just not supposed to be the American way.
Right. But I think also some of the actions have kind of discouraged people from going about it the right way.
And Trump brags about that. He feels like that's like his it's self deportation is the goal.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah, it's trying to scare him into it. It's like we're either going to hunt you down or you can leave.
Yeah. No, I mean like he's bragging.
But I mean,
like,
we had many cases of people showing up for their immigration hearings or showing up, to their green card board or whatever.
See, that's
just kind of doing like the check-ins.
Right.
And
They're doing what they were told to do to keep the
right.
process going in the way the process is supposed to go.
All right, it's people trying to go about it the right way.
Right, goes
so
back to
it
what
almost
I was
encourages people to keep trying to stay underground. It's like I've tried to go about it the right way, but that's going to get me sent to fucking Africa or whatever.
That is exactly the mentality I have when I'm dealing with Briggs and Massey.
Yeah.
It's exactly the mentality when I'm dealing with him. It's like I'm trying to do things by the book. Every time I do, I feel like I'm getting a kneecap for it. Every time. Why am I trying to play by the rules? Because by and to keep the parallel going, I don't blame people for running away and hiding when playing by the rules gets you busted.
Oh, see, that sounds better than flying cooking.
So
Flying cooking,
I don't know. Again, like I would like to have a better solution. To be fair, I think one of the things would be don't topple some regime in a South American country that a lot of people are going to run away from whatever the leftovers are, and they're going to end up here too.
I want to say I saw something about like the DOJ kind of upping the number of asylum seekers coming from Venezuela.
I'm sure
for the longest time, like they were at the top of the list of like, oh, they're all a bunch of Trinidad and Nicaragua and like drug smugglers. Like we got to get the Venezuelans out, but now all of a sudden it's like, well, no, we got to save them.
I can't wrap my mind around any of this. It makes zero sense. None of it makes any sense. Like, we are flirting with shit for no possible positive end. There's no possible positive. Best case scenario, this is Panama, which went okay.
There's already talk of like Cuba, and we've talked about like
Cuba,
going back
Colombia,
to Iran,
Mexico. Yeah, Iran's
like I
back
saw
on the table
a clip of. Apparently, he was doing it at the joke, but Lindsey Graham had some hat that said like "Make Iran Great Again."
I mean, you gotta kind of like Lindsey Graham for his complete naked warmongering at this point. Like he's not even trying to hide it anymore. You gotta kind of appreciate that at least. Yeah. I don't agree with him, but I appreciate that he's not trying to do some workaround to get his warmongering. He's just getting straight to the point.
Yeah.
Now, South Carolina, I love you. Do better. I know it's not necessarily your fault. You're gerrymandered shit. Well, no, he's a senator, right?
Yeah.
So it's a statewide election. Do better, people.
Yeah, but you got Nancy Mace in the House. She's kind of nutso.
Again, South Carolina, do better. Or, and one of the other ones I kind of like, but I kind of hate is this whole like, all right, you're going to get you're getting all these you voted for this guy, you get to go to war for him.
You're holding the egg.
I kind of like those, but I kind of hate those too. Like when we get into some hot war, you send your kids. Don't come looking for mine. I didn't ask for this. But that's not how this works, to be fair. Because if you're going to take that, again, that's one of those, I get where you're coming from, but if you're going to take that mentality, then what happens the other way? The cause that you want, you fucking pay for it. You go put your blood on the line for it.
Right.
We're not going to do it as a group. The only way this thing works is as a group. And so that cause, that action, that whatever, you deal with it. You voted for this person, you deal with it. You know, that whole not my president phase that we went through in Trump's first term.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, I agree. I didn't vote for him either, but this is how the thing works. And do better, get better candidates, you know, advocate more, get outreach. I don't know what it is, but do better. You don't get to lose and then quit. You know, that's the kid. That's the you're getting beat in the pickup game at the courts, and you just grab your basketball and go home. That's
right.
I'm taking my ball with me. That's not how, you know.
You turning off the lights.
You got to keep playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep playing. They beat you, then you got to deal with consequences of getting beat sometimes. And what it should be is you do better, and you put more, you do more work, and you exercise your ability to make your cause the more attractive cause. And if you can't do that, then maybe reevaluate your causes. Yeah. That being said, we're all gerrymandered to shit, and it really doesn't matter. Like, I'm trying to figure, like, we kind of had a moment at the kitchen table one night where it's like,
I will support this idea.
how do I word this? Kind of had the whole, like, I know you've been studying, like, history and physics and civics and stuff like that a little bit in school. It's pretty much a lie.
You 2-year-old.
Like, it doesn't actually work. This system, like, this whole this democracy thing that they're teaching in school, it's not accurate.
Yeah,
It's not true.
Well, the framework is correct. I think, like you said, when you get districts that are just highly gerrymandered, that
Right.
it doesn't feel like the function of it is
the
exactly
functional
where-
reality is not the ideal that you're getting taught. It's there, and I think, like, I'm hopeful.
It could be the OG.
Like, I'm hopeful that there's, like, apparently this started because the eldest told us about some guy on TikTok that's running for governor in Florida, and it's like, is he a Republican? Yeah. Well, then he's going to lose to DeSantis. Or is he a Democrat? He's going to lose to DeSantis, whatever. But I don't know if they're term limited in Florida. He might be term limited. But it was basically like his whole, like, no, not governor, senator from Florida. Anyway, his big thing for one of his main pitches on this post he put up or whatever was, I will not vote for any bill that includes money to send to Israel to continue this war in Gaza. And it's like, I feel like that is probably a majority issue of Americans at this point. Do we want the destruction of Israel? Probably not. But do we want to keep spending our money on making sure Israel continue their aggressive actions around them? Also, probably not.
Right.
You know,
That's all how you frame it. It's, we're providing money to help Israel defend themselves, so they can frame it in a lot less.
Sure, but you know, usually the sports saying is usually the other way. It's usually the best offense is a good defense.
Right.
You rarely hear the phrase the other way, although it sometimes is true in sports that the best defense is a good offense. Yeah. But you know, it's hard for me at least to rationalize anything of what Israel's doing is defensive at this point. I mean, that is like, I'm going to shoot my neighbor so that he doesn't go in my front yard tomorrow. Can I prove he's going in my front yard tomorrow? No, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Preemptive threats.
Right. Which seems pretty ridiculous to me. But we continue to fund Ukraine. Like, how much is this going to put on the tax? How much are you and I going to pay for whatever the fuck we're going to do in Venezuela for the next decade? You want to guess how long this is going to take to get any sort of resolution?
I mean, I don't. The whole Venezuela thing's kind of up in the air. Like, I think I saw a post today from Trump because he's been kind of talking to and courting petroleum companies. It was basically like, if they want to,
right?
If they want to put companies there, that he'll like assure their safety, basically.
Right. And he's
from what I've heard, like the infrastructure that they already have there is pretty shit. So you've got companies that would have to spend a shit ton of money to even get some of that equipment up and going.
Right. And the price of
a lot of people have this idea that, like, oh, well, our gas is going to go down. It's like,
right.
That's not how markets work. Like,
and the price of oil is already a little bit low.
Right. Yeah, it's already relatively low.
And apparently, the Venezuela is dirty. It takes
I think it's like a thicker crude.
Right. It takes an extra level of refinement or something like that to get it to the usable parts. And, maybe a decade from now, it'll help keep our gas prices a little bit lower, but it's going to take a long time for that shit to get online.
Well, no, I mean, when you have companies producing oil, I mean, OPEC does it all the time. Whenever there's a glut of product on the market, they start cutting production to keep it from going too low.
Right.
So they're not losing money.
Right.
But again, that money doesn't filter down to everyday Joes and Janes.
Right. Which is, I mean, that was the beginnings of the Maduro, or not, Chavez, right? Was he the predecessor?
Yeah, Hugo Chavez thing was in there before him.
Right, and the Chavez thing was they took over, which is why all of the gas and oil companies left Venezuela, because if you're going to stay operating in our country now that we control it, you're going to give us 20% of your company.
I think Chevron's been operating there for a while. I think
Right.
they're one of the only
exemption
American
or something
companies.
like that. Yeah, they had some weird exemption, and they were also exemption on all the sanctions that we had put on them.
Yeah.
But, Venezuela was trying to, rightfully, wrongfully, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but they were trying to govern themselves in the way they saw fit and deal with the domestic politics that is their nation.
Right. Under the sanctions that we put on them.
And we decided that we didn't like that, so we dumped a bunch of sanctions on them. And now we've decided we don't like it enough that we're going to take the president. Like, we literally went to another country.
But leaving it as vice president, and all the people that I've heard him be
Right. The
called like
totality of
Chavistas.
the totality of the regime continues to exist, and I've heard a couple of the different conspiracy theories that this was a deal made between the Trump White House and the vice president. There's even a version of it where Maduro was included as part of it, like he knew this was the plan, and that's why it was such an easy process.
He was wanting to move to America.
Is that he would come up here, they'd put him in jail for a while, he'd get to play around because apparently he likes to showboat and stuff like that,
Right.
and so that this was his way to, save face.
If you want to make
And,
good cookies,
like Trump wanted him out, or Rubio wants him out, really, but Trump wanted him out. He's like, I can get out, but I got to be able to save face on it. How can we do that? And this was the solution that they came up with.
Yeah.
They'll throw him in hanging out with P. Diddy and Luigi for the next couple
I heard
months.
about that. They're all in the same jail right now.
And then when all the hoopla, when our attention span dies down, they'll ship him off to Costa Rica or something like that to live out his days in a resort or whatever.
I heard somebody had a theory that they may try to make a deal with him if he'll come out and say that, like, yes, we were helping sway the 2020 elections.
I wouldn't put it past any of the fucks that are playing these games. It's
Right.
like, but again, like
I still don't understand how we
Make the
take a
case-
foreign leader but then try them in American justice system.
for a weapons charge, which is my favorite part.
Which I don't think it was like personal machine guns. I think he was trying to acquire machine guns like
For his army,
Right.
Because he is the leader of a nation,
Right.
and he is probably the equivalent of the commander-in-chief of their armed forces.
Yeah. I think I saw somebody that looked at like the arresting documents in the
It's trash.
The Justice Department did finally say there was like some name for what they were calling like the supposed like drug cartel that was being run or partially being run or whatever that Maduro was supposed to have some tie to. That I think even
they
in
took it
the
out.
arresting documents it basically said like that doesn't
It was
exist
trash. They took it out.
whatsoever.
Right. Like, but again, like, okay, so I sent you that picture of the T-shirt that Babylon B is selling that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And so it's a B-2 bomber on a T-shirt, and the sales pitch of the shirt is, he who has the B-2 makes the laws, which is really this is what's happening right here. Like, there's no, again, I've never been a fan of the International Court of Justice. I don't believe it in its legitimacy. It doesn't make any fucking sense. At the end of the day, this is...
It doesn't have much teeth. Yeah.
I have bigger guns than you, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. That is exactly what happened in Venezuela. There is no other way to define what happened. For whatever fucking reason that I still don't understand, Rubio talked Trump into the idea that Maduro had to go. And so we have bigger guns. They can't do anything about it. Might makes right. We're done. That's what just happened. Because there's no logical way you could spite it out any differently. There's no, like, I can't figure out. There's no logic here. Could you imagine? I can't imagine. Like, I can't even put a hypothetical together that isn't so ridiculous that I can get it out of my mouth. Like, it's just crazy. Like, could you imagine if the Germans sent a strike force in and stole and just kidnapped DeSantis out of Florida? Just broke into his house, grabbed him and his wife, took him back to Germany on some German gun law so in Germany you can't. I don't know what the German gun laws are, but you know what I'm saying. Like just some random German gun law, or okay, I don't know. Like here's maybe like the Germans do not have a freedom of speech law like we have in the United States. They are very protective of being careful about any Nazis and Nazi imagery and stuff. So the Germans come over, they snatch DeSantis out of his bed with his wife and say, "You have violated our speech laws that include Nazi imagery and or ovations to Hitler."
Right.
Actually, no. Let me put a more ridiculous version of the example. Let's say the Germans come over and snatch Nick Fuentes, that fucking asshat, out of his house with his girlfriend or spouse or boyfriend. I don't know what his life is or whatever. But just snatch him out of his house in the middle of the night with a bunch of soldiers and stuff like that. Snatch him out of his house, fly him back to Germany, and put him in court and try him for propagating Nazi imagery or whatever the fucking law is in Germany about keeping Nazi stuff out. Could you imagine what the U.S. reaction would be to that?
Yeah.
Like there's 10 million things that it's like you don't have the right to do that, Germany.
Right.
We appreciate that that's what you think and that's how you think is the right way to deal with the public and keeping those images and thoughts and ideas out of people's heads. We understand that, and you're welcome to do that in your country. You don't get to come over here. You don't get to tell our citizens how to talk, and then when they violate that, you don't get to come steal them out of their beds at night. That's called kidnapping. That's crazy. Like, it's just like...
14th and 9th grade.
Give me a better word. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, or essentially any other country that we've bombed, essentially them sending over military to take, either the defense secretary or whoever they can say, order the strikes that killed citizens or killed whatever.
Right, and put him on a trial for murder,
right,
as they deserve to be.
Right. The most justification that I hear is like, well, like you said, the might makes right. It's kind of like, well, we're big enough. We can do it.
What are you going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do?
There's all this talk of like, essentially this kind of sphere of influence that, we control our hemisphere. We kind of have to like save and kind of be the big baddie of our hemisphere.
Right, and the Monroe Doctrine keeps getting referenced right now, which is not accurate at all.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I think I saw Sagar kind of touch on that a little
bit.
We'll
make it up and go. So it's like, I don't know. It's just fucking crazy. I don't know how else to deal with it. I can't. I'm freaking out. Like this is getting to that point where it's like, where's the line? And it seems like there isn't one.
Yeah, I think I saw an article. There was a poll that was done, and it was like 60% of like women between like 18 and 44. That 60% said like if they had the ability, they would go to another country. I'm assuming if they had the economic ability, basically.
And I guess the question is like, because the good fun generic is like, well, then leave.
Right.
And it has crossed my brain. Don't get me wrong. My problem is the potential. The core values of the system have the potential to be the great thing that we have flirted with on and off over the decades. And that's where I get stuck. Like the potential's here. If we just get a more active and a more dedicated and a more empathetic and real leadership going, the potential's here.
Yeah.
Like the potential is here.
Yeah, I think I saw some kind of survey that was done that like most people, I think it was like 60%, think that we should kind of the moral leaders of the world. Yet most of those people said we're not living up to kind of like that ideal.
I think that's a great phrasing of the ideal that I'm trying to say. It's like I
think what we just did kind of sets a different precedence, because I think it kind of greenlights China to go into a Taiwan.
I mean, it doesn't, because that's the funny part to me is.
Well, I mean, if we're justifying us going into Venezuela,
Taiwan's going to say the same thing, and we're saying, yeah, but that doesn't apply to us. That doesn't apply to things that we care about in your hemisphere.
You bought a whole world because you're.
And then we get to, and then that's when we get to that. That's the scary part, because that's when we get to check that idea is who is the mightier in this conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think we are anymore. Like, okay, so if we take this Venezuela strike on face value, that this was 100%, we obviously had some inside people. CIA's been on the ground there for a while. They've announced that and stuff like that. We know that. So we know there was some semi-inside intel. But just assuming that we didn't have cooperation from the vice president or the Cuban Guard or whatever, all the different parts and pieces where we didn't have real cooperation other than maybe, hey, if some dude falls out of a helicopter next to you, don't shoot him because he's going to kill you. Other than that, like if this is true, like it is on a tactical, strategic, purely tactile warfare thing, this was an amazingly effective and impressive display of what our military can do.
Yep.
However, that's all our military can do anymore. I do not believe our military is capable of actually fighting a war. I think we have the best special forces on the planet.
Like the kind of like traditional ground war you're talking about.
I think the only thing we're good at is very high-end, tip-top special forces action.
Can you give me like 5 or 10?
When it gets out there, when it's a bunch of dudes in the field and we're shooting bombs and missiles at each other and they're shooting bombs and missiles at us, and it's more of this is open warfare back and forth, we're done. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Because everybody's figured out how to fight that.
I mean, we were bogged down in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Right. Again, but let's look at the history and say this is I was arguing with a dude with after this Venezuela thing happened, and I kind of feel bad, and I caught myself, and I did apologize to him in real time because he was talking about how impressive the strike was, and he was right. But I assumed that he meant that it was good, that he thought it was good, and so I was blowing up on him about how this is one of the dumbest, most ridiculous things that maybe has happened in my lifetime. The idea that this thing happened, and so I was blowing up on him about it, and it's like, what's going to happen next? So this vice president takes over. We have the same regime in place. Are we going to topple that one? Are we going to let that one ride out? What changed? Okay, we did the school strike, but what changed other than China now thinks, okay, well, it's my sphere of influence. I get to do what I want with Taiwan. Cool. I'm down with that. What did we achieve in this change? And so but then Trump says, well, things are going to go the way we want them to go, or we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, or we'll do it even harder next time. And it's like, so at some point, the most logical end to me is that Venezuela devolves into some sort of civil war kind of mess thing, and we're in there.
There's potential for it. I mean, they have a good bit of I don't know how many, but there's at least a couple kind of like guerrilla factions that were already against the Maduro regime.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, that might put them in check because they think the U.S. is now backing the Maduro Jr. regime or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what happens from here. Best case scenario, there's going to be. Honestly, on the human factor, the best case scenario is the U.S. is going to spend trillions of dollars in trying to keep things functional and moving forward.
Right.
That's the best case scenario.
That's something it's kind of hard to sell to the American people. It's we got to build up their infrastructure, and it's we need money here at home.
Right. So that's the best case scenario. The more bad scenario, which I believe is probably the more likely scenario, is the National Guard starts getting called up, and we actually send active duty military, and then we actually we're putting real boots on the ground, and we're going to have stories of mothers losing their sons in Venezuela because we're trying to build a highway to get oil out of the mountains.
Yeah, it's not a small country.
Right. But I'm just saying, that's the most, that seems like the most likely outcome here, is that boots on the grounds. We did poppy fields in Afghanistan. We're going to do oil fields in Venezuela. And kids are going to die, and kids are going to come back all broken and fucked up, and their brains are going to be all twisted up because they saw some of the worst shit you could see as a human being on the planet. And they're going to fail to re-assimilate into society, and they're going to be on the VA toll for the rest of their lives. And we're going to be supporting them, and they deserve to get our support because they did what we asked them to. The problem is, why are we asking them to do it?
It's been a while since we've got some jungle warfare training. So,
I mean, we're just again, but going back, that was the core point. It's I don't think we're capable of doing that. I think we're capable. We could send 100 guys, and they can stand on the side of the road and sit on the top of the Humvee with a machine gun, and when some guy comes running out, we can shoot him. Sure, we could do that. But when that little guerrilla group's doing what the little groups do, they're going to kill a kid. They're going to blow up a Humvee and kill a couple of our guys, and they'll shoot back, and a couple of their guys will die, and whatever. It's just going to be a constant over and over kind of churn, and nothing changes. We're not better off for it. They're not better off for it. We're not getting the oil out. Exxon might be making a couple of bucks, but who gives a shit? We're just going to continue to roll down this same thing that we've done over and over and over again since World War II. And at least up until the 90s or late 80s, we at least had this overarching argument of, the Cold War part of it.
We're spreading democracy and we're keeping communism out of Central America.
But I don't know. I just don't know that we can I don't know that we could we are kind of back into a Cold War of sorts. But I don't know that we can reignite that mentality of the Cold War ever again. I think that ship has sailed. You're not going to convince the American public that we need to force democracy upon a foreign people. We tried that with Iraq and it failed.
Right.
We've tried that.
People believed it for a minute that we were going to win over hearts and minds.
And maybe we
showed them the light of free and fair elections.
Except when you live there, you know your own history better than most Americans do, and you know that most of this started with real Cold War shit back in the day.
Right.
And you go, oh wait a minute, you want us to love you because you killed my grandpa?
Right.
I'm confused. Or you taught my grandpa how to use a gun to go fight his cousin that the Russians taught how to use a gun, and they killed each other and they killed their friends and all that kind of stuff. And you want me to trust you, and you want to win me over? I don't know if that's going to happen, friend.
You just come in and say that our new leader is somebody you handpicked,
right? Right, and you set up an election for us and we vote for it, and the guy that wins the election, you're like, you guys are wrong. Sorry, this is the guy.
Yeah.
Man, we fail miserably at local. Murder rates are down in Knoxville. That's fun. From 24 to 17.
I guess another thing, the Knoxville Fire Department, I think, put out that there had been less fire deaths as well.
Fire deaths?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's been more fires though. There was an apartment fire a couple weeks ago.
We're getting to them faster. Maybe. Or people are getting better about getting out before shit hits the fan.
Maybe. I mean, there's the house down the street that burned down. There's the house just up the street that just caught fire but didn't burn down a couple weeks ago. But there's that big apartment complex over there where the 640-40 split goes.
Had Knoxville officials hail milestone year without fire-related deaths, a first since 1990.
Way to go. Crown College burned down?
Fire officials...
Was that last year?
Are calling 2025 milestone 0 fire-related deaths in the city.
Way to go. I don't know. That's could be a lot of things, but it is kind of exciting. It is kind of interesting. I think it is it's something to celebrate, don't get me wrong. With the boom in population and stuff we have, to have murder and traffic fatalities both down mathematically, just in pure numbers, not as a percentage of the population, but in pure numbers, to have that down despite, I think they said, City of Knoxville is still right under 200,000 people. Knox County has crossed the 500,000 threshold by a decent number at this point. And so that's somewhere in the last, 2020 was the census. I think the 2020 census, which I don't think was actually accurate, but the 2020 census has at 498,000 in Knox County or something like that. So 5 years were 60,000 plus people, I think, something like that is the estimate, without the census numbers to help out. It's pretty crazy. It's a lot of people in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And to have traffic fatalities and murders both drop in that same within that window, it's pretty impressive. I don't know if I could get behind any congratulating any one individual or policy of making that happen. My argument for the traffic fatalities things is we've just got so much traffic now that nobody gets to go fast.
It's forced everybody to slow down.
I mean, dude, we've talked about on the show 1,000 times, the stretch of 40 between downtown and 640 going west. It used to be it got pretty bogged down and slow in the standard rush hour kind of periods, in the mornings and in the evenings.
Yeah, I think they've been working on 640, 275 for years as well, kind of on and off.
Yeah, but I'm saying after you get on 240 from 275 going west.
Okay.
So right downtown going west on 40, that stretch from the Alcoa Highway exit to the 640 interchange. It used to be, it would slow down super slow during rush hour. Now it's down super slow all the time.
Yeah.
It's almost all the time. when
Like
I
they're kinda
leave,
coming into Paper Mill, pretty much right in there.
yeah, when I leave Happy Holler, if I leave after 1 p.m., I go through Lonsdale. I go through the ghetto
You don't.
because I can actually drive because I'm not stopping anywhere in that. And it's like
I mean, a
57
couple years
turns
ago, I
and
would try to
back.
leave out of downtown by 3 o'clock, because by 3 o'clock it was already starting to back up.
That's what I'm saying. It's moved up to 1 o'clock,
Right.
And but it doesn't stop. But the morning part of it doesn't stop till 10:30 now. I'll be driving into the Happy Holler area at 11 for one reason or another, and the traffic going the other way is gridlock. So, Emerald Youth is back on the prowl for property in East Knoxville. So the Chill Howie failure might turn into a new property just up the street in what's called 5 Points. I didn't know we had a 5 Points in Knoxville. We have a 5 Points in East Knoxville.
5 Points.
Yeah, and so we'll see. I mean, it's only really interesting to see if anybody's honest. That's all I care about in this conversation. Bunches of people that were complaining about the Chill Howie Park idea. It's like, we have nothing against Emerald Youth and what they're planning. It's just not there and not that piece of land. So now that Emerald Youth is over here, potentially looking at this other piece of land, are those same people that said, we're cool with them, Youth going to be cool with them over here. Because this other piece of land's private anyway, so when it gets down to the brass tacks of it, the public doesn't really have an opinion on this.
Sure.
I mean, they can have an opinion, but their opinion doesn't weigh in it. Although there may be some zoning issues because of what the piece of land is currently zoned for versus what zone requirements Emerald Youth will have for their project. But so there might be a planning commission meeting on it.
For it to be rezoned.
Yeah, so just to amend some zonings because it's commercial 1, which is medium high density, retail or something like that too. I don't know. I don't know what they would. I don't know with what Emerald Youth wants to build, a bunch of soccer fields and basketball courts and whatever. I don't know what that. I don't know how. I don't know what definition that fits in zoning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's it's complicated. What else did I miss? There was something else.
Although since there's the 4 of us, it'd be best up to
Sevier Avenue.
What's going on, Sevier Avenue?
What was the Sevier Avenue project? Road project. Where did I just see it?
That'd be a real grand idea.
$19.2 million Sevier Avenue project remains on track for 2027 completion.
Yeah. I got mixed feelings.
You mentioned earlier about the federal law enforcement agency, but apparently they're looking to lease space in West Knoxville or Hardin Valley area.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah. Right. The Richard Bean Detention Center is not within the footprint that they asked for.
Or just in general.
So close.
Was I wrong?
Yes. But I mean, it's something to say. I feel like it would be perfect. It would be absolutely within the. I just feel like it'd be a perfect space for what they might need, and it would also be a perfect opportunity to get the Richard Bean Center off of the Knox County books and just start over with juvenile detention center. Just start new. But again, I feel like it seems like they've already made a deal and it's already moving forward, and we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks when the escrow and paperwork starts to get going on the property transfer. So we'll be on the lookout for Nick McBride to publish that property transfer documentation to find out. This has got to be a multi-million-dollar piece of property. And
Yeah.
McBride does do a newsletter where he does a weekly or a monthly. I think it's a monthly where he talks about the number of properties, the number of property transfers that they'd processed, the average amount of the properties they've processed, the largest dollar numbers, the top 5 in value. It's this, I remember reading through it. It was like the 1 month. It was like a 17 million, a 9 million, a 4 million, and a $2 million properties were sold that month, or were transferred that month through paperwork or through the paperwork they have to process in the Register of Deeds office. But then the average was like 820 something thousand was the average of all property deeds that they processed that month. Like, it's a newsletter that he puts out. It's kind of neat.
It's residential and commercial?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, so of all deeds that they processed in the month, the average is 820 something. These are the top 5, and they list the top 5 and what they are.
Yeah.
Because it's public record stuff. It's kind of a neat little newsletter just to see what's happening. And it's kind of interesting too, because when you like after a couple of them, it's like there's some big shit happening all the time.
Right. I wonder how many of those are predominantly, bought by, developer A, B, and C. It's like 75% are now bought by.
All of that is Hatcher Hill. Like Hatcher Hill bought the top 3 of the 5 top transactions this month were all Hatcher Hills.
Yeah.
And then if you look back over the last 5 months, at least one of the top 5 are all Hatcher Hills or something like that. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting to try to break that down numbers wise.
How does this look?
So I don't know.
How does the part look so far?
It's
How does the part look so far? It's definitely not done, although
it's interesting. It's an interesting little thing to look at. It's a fun little thing. So if you got time, go to Big Pride's Facebook page or whatever and find the link and sign up for that newsletter. It's a fun newsletter. It's an interesting newsletter to read through. I'm kind of running out of stuff that I wanted to talk about for this week. If anybody wants to buy me the Babylon Bees B2 t-shirt, almost an agreement at gmail.com, and you can send it to me.
These are sick as hell.
Because I don't know, like I like satirical honesty. I think is what I'm getting at. So the way the chive, the reason the chive is always hilarious, or the onion rather is always hilarious, is because like it's fully satirical, but the core idea is always true. Like the best ones are like the best ones are like the best ones are that the underlying theme of what they're saying is 100% true, and we all know it.
Yeah, it was a t-shirt I kept wanting to get from the onion. That was Jesus is my health care.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. I can wait. The Jesus Christ Scientist Temple is just up the street. You can go get you in there.
It's Sequoia Hills.
Yeah. They might.
I always thought it was a cool looking building.
It is a cool looking building. It's
Very
great.
like New Age.
right, which is kind of antithetical to the premise.
Yeah, but they're modern. I don't know. Yeah, I guess they are kind of old school. But
I mean, it is an interesting combination of things. However you want to break it down.
oh, they're supposed to be building a big Latter-day Saints temple off of like Watt Road. I remember seeing talk about that in like the past year or so.
Oh, I guess yeah. I hadn't heard about that. I mean, if you got the money, I guess.
Yeah,
That could be an interesting trend to watch. Like you got these mega churches in Texas and stuff, and we've got some big churches around here and stuff. And a lot
just
of
waiting
them.
for the Scientologists to start showing up.
But like it could be interesting to watch. Like what denomination or subsect is building stuff and building big stuff, and you got to think like the money and all the cost that comes along with that. Like how many people are like? Do we have a lot of people? Do we like? That's always one of those things that kind of baffles me. Like the number of churches we have. Are there that many people that are donating that much money that these churches can afford this kind of stuff? Obviously.
I think that's why you've started to see a little bit more of kind of like the bigger kind of quote unquote mega churches.
So
I think
it's
it does
all kind of breaking
They can
down
be a little
into
more
one.
new age. They can bring more people in.
And they're
Because I've been to some small churches that I'm like, how are these people? How is this church like maintaining its kind of like financial?
Yeah, it is always an interesting question, but it's like one of those like. I'm curious what the national trend is in at least church going. Because like on the service level, like on a cultural
trended
level,
down in certain areas, but because there was one I can't remember like the name of it, but there was one that was starting to meet at like Westtown Mall, and I remember hearing like ads for them on like the radio, and it was kind of like come as you are, come in your street clothes or whatever, just trying to kind of be more welcoming to everyone and not feeling like you got to like put on your Sunday best to come to church. It's kind of like we'll take you as you are. come down to the mall and come to church.
I'd just be curious about like the like culturally, I feel like the numbers should be low, but then just looking around, I feel like the numbers are still pretty high.
There's still a good number of churches. I think a lot of them have, kind of like aged out. I think if you go to something like the smaller churches, that are predominantly older,
Right.
and so they're getting less and less of the kind of like new people coming in.
Right. And so I don't know. I'm fascinated. Like I'm fascinated by that, and especially when we get into the current status of politics and how much religion is a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's like it just doesn't seem to equate in my head. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like culturally, I just don't. I feel like we're an atheist nation. Or maybe atheist may be a strong word. Agnostic nation.
Yeah, I want to say that the numbers have trended more to people being not necessarily spiritual, but they're a little bit more of like they still kind of consider themselves Christian, but like a non-denominational.
Yeah. I mean, I would just. I don't know. I just kind of find that fascinating in the where religion, politics, and culture kind of all collide. Just doesn't seem to ever equal up to me.
Yeah.
Because the culture is not like the culture is like selfish greed, like 3 of the 7 deadly sins are top priorities culturally right now.
Yeah, I want to say like the 90s you saw kind of a rise in like an evangelical movement.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be kind of
Okay, so the last one that is kind of an interesting touch on, like Trump's been talking about it for a while, this Manhattan level project for AI. And Oak Ridge is on board, as it should be, if it's a Manhattan-level project. Apparently, Oak Ridge is spearheading a national lab AI data collaboration kind of thing. It's kind of interesting.
I did see some article about Apple that was going to try to power, some kind of AI supercenter with nuclear power.
Cool. As long as I don't have to pay more for my electricity, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I could give a fuck. Like I don't know. Part of it's because of my general distaste for AI at large. If I want to use AI, I'll pay for AI.
I saw some like crazy story pop up that like Utah is the first state that now I guess they're allowing AI to do like pharmaceutical prescriptions, which I thought was kind of scary.
I don't care. Doesn't bother me.
I don't know. I mean, you're basically asking a computer, like, "Hey, here's my symptoms. Can you prescribe me something?"
Yeah,
it's like, "Sure, here's this."
I mean, my basic core philosophy says that.
I mean, maybe it'll be less
permission.
Maybe it'll be less influenced by kind of big pharma, but
probably not.
Right, there probably still ties to it. Like, hey, we'll pay you to push our
your
products.
GLP-1. Here's some Adderall. Here's some I don't know, some other high dollar whatever. I mean, but yeah, my general philosophy, I don't understand the idea of the pharmacy in the first place. So, or maybe the prescription is what I don't understand the idea of. The pharmacy, I'm fine with the idea of the pharmacy. I just don't like the idea that I need somebody else's permission to go buy something from the pharmacy.
You don't, clearly.
But we got Richard Briggs around, so he's going to protect me from myself. So, as long as there's somebody out there looking out for me because I can't do it myself. Yeah. Yet he's of the party that says, take care of yourself and don't look to the government to save you.
It probably looks like hot shit.
Which is very confusing if you think about it.
I mean, I think there's some drugs that should be kind of behind some kind of like, not necessarily like a paywall, but I don't think I should be able to go into a pharmacy and be like, I got back pain. I need some Oxycontin. I'm like, okay, sure, that's what you think you need. Sure, there you go.
I mean, that's how Mexico does it, but
Yeah.
I don't like. I get the guttural reaction to think that way, but I can't. I don't agree with that. Like I just like. It doesn't make sense to me. Like I mean, one of the core ones that I always go back to is like, especially when I was younger. It's past now that I've aged out a little bit, but like it used to be every time I got sick, whether it was like a cold or the flu, just some generic like ran a fever for a day or two, sneezed a few times, maybe puked or whatever, just generic, the most generic version of sickness you get. A couple days later, I get an ear infection. Standard every time. And the actual whatever the original sickness was, it didn't bother me enough that I did anything about it. I just kind of dealt with it for a couple of days and it was fine.
I took some
But
cold
then
medicine. Whatever.
after I got over being sick, I would have to go to the doctor so I could get a prescription to get an antibiotic so that I could treat my ear infection.
Right.
Because my
That's
ear
the other thing I was
infection
about to mention. I think with the kind of rise of kind of more resistant bacteria and whatnot, I think that would be another drug that you shouldn't be able to go willy nilly and just go pick up antibiotics.
I mean, I get I see the logic in it, but at least in the history of my lifetime, it's always been the same one I get every time.
Right.
But that being said, it's once a year for me. It was once a year for me. It's like once a year I'd get sick with a cold or whatever, and then I get an ear infection.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Or if you could you place
I resent more having to go to the doctor's office so I can get a note to send to school
that is kind of messed
than
up.
that one. Like I don't.
Or being stuck in the middle of that. It's like, I don't want to pay like a copay to send him to the doctor.
I refuse.
He had
I
a
will
cold,
go-
and I gave him some Theraflu.
I will go sit
he'll
down
be better
with
in
the
a day or
principals
two.
and pitch a fight. I don't give a fuck. I am not. Like, I'm not going to do it. It is fucking bullshit. These are the rules you put in place. If you want me to abide by your rules, you pay the fucking bill.
Yeah. I guess I remember being in like middle school, and they had like excused and unexcused absences. So
Yes,
all
they
it really
do.
took was like your parents basically saying like, "Hey, they were sick," and they're like, "Okay, well that's excused."
Right. That's not right. It's still that way, except it's got to be from somebody that isn't.
Right. Now they want a
Cardio.
doctor's note. Yeah.
Right. It's got to be. It's got to be somebody with a fucking 17-year degree to get you there on that side of things. So, anyway, you ready to get weird, my friend? Do you know which button it is? I don't remember which button it is.
Yeah. Found it. Oh, didn't have it pulled up yet.
Oh, he wasn't ready, people. I pulled the trigger early.
But it's an interesting local one.
Okay, well then we'll. That was a faux transition into weird shit, or is it weird local shit?
It's kind of weird local shit.
All right. Well, then
There was
I feel
a,
good about playing the theme music.
Burr, 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 burr. We had 2 East Tennessee pigs were rescued from an unusual place.
Oh well, on the weird on weird animal news, we had a semi-local monkey on the loose, a monkey guitar thief.
Say guitar thief?
Yeah, or stole like a ukulele or something.
I didn't hear
It
about
was in a
that.
music. There's something about a music store in it, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
I didn't see that.
Anyway,
story.
tell me more about these pigs.
Let's see here. Young Williams and Knox County Rescue worked together to save 2 pigs from Looney Islands. I guess that's somewhere in Knox County.
Sounds like it.
Or some island on the Tennessee River. Not exactly sure where it's at. Let's see here. Some Knoxvillians reported seeing the pigs while walking along the Tennessee River. And one caller may have gone to the islands. Let's see here. They were chasing their dogs where they were at one day. How the pigs came to the islands is a mystery. We do think they were transported there or found there, maybe by some good Samaritans, and set up a shelter.
So, do we know whose pigs they are?
We don't know where exactly they came from. I guess Young Williams helped rescue them. See, the black pig is estimated to weigh about 150 pounds, and the smaller pig about 100 pounds.
Those are not small pigs?
Apparently not small. But I guess they're not the crazy wild hogs.
No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's some. I'm sure we have some wild hogs in Knox County. And pigs can't swim. So, I'm interested.
Is there
I'm curious.
a peacock out there too? Oh.
What? There's a cock on the island? Is that what you said?
Peacock. Let's see, there was a quote. We started to believe that the pigs on the island were all a diversion, so the peacock could do what he's up to today. What?
Yeah, this got weird. This got proper weird. What are we talking about? What?
I'm not sure where peacock came into it. The peacock of interest has not been apprehended, and the 2 rescue pigs have been fostered. The pigs were not microchipped, and if an owner came forward, they would have to explain how the pigs found themselves on Looney Island. The pre-adoption process is expected to be
Yeah, I
competitive.
don't care about the pigs anymore, dude. What's going on with the peacock? What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't see any precursor to it.
The pigs were a distraction for the peacock to do his thing. I hear peacocks are pretty mean. If you get, I mean, the whole display thing is usually an aggressive reaction unless there's a lady peacock around.
They're definitely loud.
All right. Stay tuned next week. We're going to talk more about peacocks on Lily Island. We're going to move on to something else weird, because we don't know what's going on with the peacocks.
Yeah, let's see here. California homeowner rolls out unwelcome mat for black bear living under his house.
Okay, what's
Getting
an unwelcome
wild.
mat? I want to know more about that thing.
A huge black bear that made its den in the crawl space under a Los Angeles area man's house for more than a month has finally been evicted. The animal began denning. Don't know that word. Okay, I guess it's making your den.
It sounds like a reasonable action word, yeah.
Beneath his home around Thanksgiving, twisting gas lines and toppling bricks as he came and went. Surveillance video showed the bear easily tearing away screening and other obstacles and squeezing through a small opening. He first asked wildlife officials for help, but the air horns and paintball guns they deployed didn't work. So he turned to Bear League, a California-based nonprofit that bills itself as specializing in, quote, living in harmony with bears.
Oh, yeah.
The bear was out within 20 minutes after members from the group arrived.
Yeah. I mean, the simple solution is to make dinner. But that's not harmonious.
Somebody crawled under the house and encouraged it to leave.
Encouraged it to leave.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Hey, man. Hey. I see what you got going on here, and it's pretty sweet. But it's not yours.
Let's see. The group placed a, quote, unwelcome mat, which delivers an electric shock at the opening. Video footage showed the bear returning to the house, stepping on the mat, and then running away.
Yep. Harmony through electrocution. I like it. Yeah, seems reasonable.
Let's see here.
I mean, it's better than fucking killing the bear because nobody got hurt and whatever. Like, I don't like when they just kill bears because bears do what bears do. I think that's rude. However, I would have happily come and got that bear out of your house. And I would have ended up killing that bear, but I'm at least going to eat it.
I would have put it to good use.
Have a sweet, sweet rug in here. Make a jacket. I don't know. Oh, man. It's going to be a crazy 26. Like I'm really curious. Like, I've got a lot of questions. I kind of want to start putting together a fucking sheriff's debate. Because I think it's going to be, it should be tip top of the conversation list is how you're going to handle, we'll see when some of these official bills hit the state house, but it's like, if they're going to oblige you.
Talking to, some of the different, like the sheriff's associations and kind of stuff like that, those kind of groups.
Yeah, Lafferty and Sexton and those guys don't give a shit. They're going to do it because they want Trump to be happy with him, and Trump wants Tennessee to be the leader in this conversation to get state law to help. And again, I'm not arguing that it's not appropriate. It depends how they roll it out.
Right.
Honestly, if we're going to be honest about immigration conversations, there is a level of we need to figure out how to do this better. Because the way we're doing it is awful. What I don't want to see is Knox County Sheriff's Office ripping people's out of their cars and doing all this fucked up shit that we're seeing ICE do right now. I don't want to see that.
So we've been having like DUI checkpoints or
but,
like immigration checkpoints.
Having a system set up where it's like it's a known that no matter where you go in the country, local law enforcement is going to enforce this shit too. It may help with some of the process, some of the issues in the process. I could see that as a reasonable solution. Because it's one of those like once it gets well set into place, it's not going to be used as much. It's just got to get set into place. But yeah, April 14th is the date I'm trying to work towards. I really want to get this off. I have reached out to, actually, interestingly enough, Betsy has not pulled her petition yet. The only official petitions pulled have been Kim and Larson. But I did
The deadline hasn't passed.
No, we got another couple weeks before pickup passes, and then a couple weeks after that before the deadline to turn back in is.
Okay.
So there's plenty of time, and I don't foresee Betsy having any issue getting the signatures she needs.
No.
So I've already reached out to all three. Both official candidates for mayor, and I've reached out to the Betsy camp, and I told them I expect them to be at my debate. And I got a thumbs up, and I'll be there, and I have not got a response. So far I got 2 of the 3. And one of those 2 is the one I really, really want. So, but I didn't talk to her directly. I talked to that other guy.
The Peoples.
Yeah. And he kind of gave me a little bullshit. I was like, I'll talk to her team. It's like, you are her team, motherfucker. Don't lie to me. She's going to be there, or I will do everything in my power to shame it. Not that I have a lot, and not that that's already not in play for me anyway. But that was the pitch. The pitch I gave was like, listen, I have my opinions on things, but there is no way you can argue that I am not fair to every single person I talk to. I let them say their piece. I let them do their thing the way they want to do their thing. I'm not going to tell anybody anything other than that. I have my opinions, and I'm allowed my opinions. But I'm not going to... The argument of, I didn't go to that debate because the host was biased is not going to play here. It's just not. Like, I have a personal bias, but I don't have a practical bias in what I do.
Yeah.
And that argument's not going to sit. So, I'm working on the different parts and pieces as we speak, but the date is confirmed, and I will continue to press until I make sure I have everybody. And yeah, any of you other people out there that are planning on running for mayor, I'll invite you as well, as long as you get your paperwork done and you are a candidate for mayor. So keep tuned in for that and other random discussions. We went all over the place tonight. No, we didn't. We stayed on immigration almost the whole show.
Yeah.
Immigration, law enforcement, and then the Venezuela thing. Oh. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just it's getting to the point where what's funny to me is all the freak out we had 7 years ago or whatever when Trump first took office seems cute. To like what people were freaking out seems almost cute compared to what's going on right now. And I didn't see it. Like I didn't see it. I didn't think it was going to happen. And
I did see a funny Trump quote. I think it was a couple shows ago or whatever. I had the idea. I was like, I wonder if he'll try to run as vice president with Vance running as president on the ticket. But apparently, there's a reporter that asked Trump about that. He said that would be cute. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, no, that'd be too cute.
Yeah,
but I thought it was funny that they actually asked him about it.
I mean, really, with the ego of Trump, there's no way he's not running his lead of a ticket.
Right.
You know, like, and so again, like, I'll be curious how if he does try and how they try to argue it. And I mean, I'm like, it'd be an interesting question. Like, it'd be an interesting question to ask the state of Tennessee. Like, hey guys, is the Tennessee? Are we gonna Secretary of State Haggard or whatever your name is? Like, are you going to produce a ballot for the state of Tennessee that includes a third term for President Trump? Like, you know, are you going to do that? Like, are you willing to do that? Because
you assume it would be pretty quickly litigated. That's something that the Supreme Court would take up on, like, whatever they call, like, the emergency docket or whatever.
Yeah, but are they going to do it? Like, are they going to do anything? That's one of the things that's like that's the.
I mean, I've heard most people say that it's pretty cut and dry. That's what the 22nd
I agree that it's pretty cut and
says.
dry, but there's a lot of shit that's
like apparently, like Alan Dershowitz wrote a whole book, kind of like arguing the legality of being able.
Almost
to
an agreement at gmail.com. You can send me a promo link that I can get a free copy of that book. I'll buy it and I'll read it and tell you guys how wrong he is. Or I don't know. I'll just try to read it.
I mean, supposed to be a pretty decent lawyer. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, like
you got OJ off.
If we go to. If we go down to the brass tacks of the way the law works, if you can make the right arguments and produce the right evidence, you can get OJ from.
I think he was on OJ's team.
You can, some lawyer, whether Dershowitz or not, kept OJ out of prison, and I'm pretty sure we all know what happened there. So. You know, if that's a functional possibility in the way our U.S. legal system works, then I'm sure if you are creative and interesting enough, you could probably you could make the argument. Can you pull it off? That's the question.
I mean, OJ still lost a civil trial.
Yeah, but that's pittance compared to the criminal part of it.
Sure.
So, but it's still fascinating that you can win one and lose the other. So, well, I don't know. That's probably not that uncommon.
I think it's a slightly lower bar.
I bet you this ICE agent that killed that lady gets off on the criminal. I bet you he doesn't get convicted of the criminal side of it, but I'll bet he loses some money in a civil suit.
Lose like a wrongful death.
Yeah. I could see the wrongful death suit playing out, but I don't know. On the legal side of it, there's enough in the qualified immunity and kind of bullshit that this guy's gonna. And I hesitate to say get away with it, but I don't think this guy's going to jail.
Yeah. And I'm assuming there's some kind of argument. He had a reasonable fear for his life.
Right.
I don't know.
Which is such a weird argument because it's unprovable that
Right.
From his perspective.
You pinky promised that you were afraid.
Right. But anyway, you fucking killed somebody for no fucking reason. Who gives a shit? Like, why do? Like, it goes to one of those like, did you need to stop her? Did she need to stop? Was she going to kill somebody because she bumped one of your friends who was out of the way before you started shooting?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing to me. Like the generic of it. It doesn't matter whether it's ICE or any law enforcement in general. It's like this generic idea, like the whole point, like is why we have this separation of law enforcement and the judicial system. That's why they're separated. Is law enforcement is supposed to get them to court. They're not supposed to be the court. They don't get to be. This isn't Judge Dredd. That's not the world we live in. The idea, like the number of perps who are probably guilty and bad people and maybe deserve to die if you want to get down argumentatively on it. That cops kill that they don't need to. Or are extra abusive if they don't need to. I saw there was a nightly news the other night. They had a story, and it's a crazy story. It's like out of Utah or something like that. Some dude broke into a construction site and stole a fucking front end loader. Mm-hmm. And the office manager sees him do it, calls the cops, and the cops come out there. And the first cop car pulls up, and dude drives this thing right into the fucking cop cars. Cop jumps out and screaming at him to stop, get out of the fucking thing or whatever. And another cop pulls up, and he starts driving into that cop car, and this first cop starts shooting into the glass, and they're both cops just shooting into the glass of this thing. End up hitting the guy like two times. Finally pulls the thing to a stop. And they're like, and then at that point there's like 10 cops. And so the front end, they're like, I'm not even mad that they shot at him. He's not dead yet. He's definitely shot, but he's not dead yet. And it's a front end loader, so it's the cab of this thing's like 7-8 feet up in the air. And the way the news reports it is that like one of the officers fell 7 feet with the perp as they fell out of the cab of the car in detaining him. And it's like, okay, that's fucking crazy. They had to crawl up on the machine and grab him out and throw him out while the machine was running around. No, the machine was stopped. The guy had given up and ceased to try to run anything over.
Right. They just fell as they were trying to climb back
Seven
down.
cops are standing around with guns pointing at them. Doors open. They're right there. One cop climbs up into the cab and grabs the guy and jumps out with him. And so you have an individual who has been shot multiple times that you body slammed off a 7-foot fucking cab of a piece of construction equipment, and we're supposed to feel bad for the cop. It's like, why did you didn't need to do that? Like that whole thing when they finally get somebody stopped, and like the amount of abuse in that last little bit just drives me crazy every time I see it.
Yeah.
And then it drives me to another level crazy when they're reporting it as like that needed to happen. It didn't need to happen. Like you've got him stopped. He's not a threat to anybody anymore. Why do you need to beat him up anymore? That's what the George Floyd case was. You had the guy detained. Why did you need to put him on the ground and put your knee in his back for 10 minutes or whatever it was that killed the guy? You don't need to do that stuff, but they do it all the time, and they don't get in trouble for it. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, like some of it's kind of a rush of adrenaline that they kind of like
You're
lose.
a professional.
I know.
You don't get to play that excuse. I do as the citizen. I'm not trained for this shit. I'm freaking out. I'm the lady in the car in Minnesota that's getting a bunch of different people yelling a bunch of different shit at me all at the same time, and I'm freaking out. And I slam my foot down on the wrong pedal, and you kill me for it.
Yeah, apparently one of the guys was involved in, like, he got hit by a car, like, a few months ago or whatever. So I've heard that like used as an excuse. It's like, well, he had a reasonable fear because he's already been, hit by someone or almost run over by someone.
That he shouldn't be on the fucking job.
I
Like,
agree.
what are we talking about? That's crazy talk.
It's like, this ain't snowflake shit.
Right. You're like, and again, and I'll even make the argument in this part of the conversation that maybe they should get paid more. And I made the joke to Jesse today. It's like, I think in law enforcement and the military, the first question you ask when you're recruiting somebody is, do you want to kill somebody? And if the answer is yes, you say, thank you for coming in. We'll get back to you if we think that you're a fit for our job, and you never call them back.
Right.
If the answer is you want to kill somebody, you should not be in a position where you can legally kill somebody.
Yeah.
The next question should be, are you willing to, if and when the occasion arises, are you willing to kill somebody? The answer should be yes to that.
Yeah, I've heard like some arguments of this kind of like rush to hire more, because I see ads on YouTube all the time of like join ICE signing bonuses.
45 days
as far as them essentially kind of like lowering the bar for bringing people in.
I think it's like 45 days of trading. 45 days of trading. You're gonna send a 20-year-old server to a 5-hour class to identify a human trafficker and expect them to do something about it. But you have a guy that's out there running around with guns that has 45 days of training.
Yeah.
This is the logic of our government, people. You need to be responsible for the people that are in your business. But the guys that are out there running around protecting us from the bad guys get zero fuck all training. And we expect them to do a good job of it. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. We didn't mean to get back into the episode. Everybody, we love you. Thank you. Bye. Almost in room, everybody. Thanks for listening. Debate. April 14th, everybody. It's official. If they don't show up, the ones that do just get to talk and don't have anybody to question what they're talking about. So we're Almost Agreement. Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. We're on the best podcast providers, and pretty much all of them. Find us there and tell your friends where to find us, because we need more people to listen, and we need more people to talk to. So, yeah, I'm going to email Dr. Briggs right now to show him some evidence about how dumb the transition in hemp law is, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And again, I'm sitting here holding the bag because I'm the one that loses. Anyway, almost here, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon. Bye. Coming in here with your boogers.